Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. Today is Friday, March the 8th, 2024, and boy, do I have a good show for you today. Welcome on in. There is some huge news coming up, but I'm going to go ahead and get started the warm-up first. I don't like repeating myself, so I'm going to wait till we get 15 people or so here. I'm going to roll out. In the meantime, I got a great squat day coming up for you. There'll be a lot of hypertrophy. Going to start with some sixes, do our prime mover work first, hit some pause squats, front squats, high bar squats, track bar deadlifts, lunges, sorts of good stuff. Reminds me, we go ahead and check the mic positioning. Severus, as always, first off, thank you so much for the resub. That is an entire year. I am so grateful for that. But more importantly, thank you for calling to mind the mic positioning, because yes, you're right. It got knocked over a little while ago, and then I never fixed it. Tom Wilson is the new owner of the Pens. He's already been living rent-free there, Big Red. Good to see you. Welcome on in. Sid Purple Stuff. Hey, am I on TRT? No. As a matter of fact, I'm natty, and I have to be for my current job. I'm a nuclear engineer. As a result, I get tested at my job. I get that question a lot because, well, you tell me. But no, I'm not on anything like that. Is TRT good? Ask a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I stay far away from anything like that. I think it really depends on the person. I do believe, however, though, once you take it, it's crossing the Rubicon. You're no longer natty, and you can't claim that you are. So, I forgot to remove these wraps. Oh, I shouldn't use these again on Sunday, so just set them over there for now. We'll hit jump rope a little bit first. No, we'll dive into it. We got plenty of time today. Nothing urgent to do. Nothing that requires my immediate attention. So we're gonna take our sweet time today, as far as I'm concerned, guys. This is all that matters. So. We got a lot of squatting to do today. That's gonna be the big feature. So we're gonna start there, of course. Draw strings out. Much better. I'm just warming up right now. Gotta make sure all the joints, ligaments are ready. Because, so while it is a cut cycle, as a result, right, I'm not going quite as high level as y'all saw me going in 70s powerlifter for the top weight on the squats. We're still gonna be hitting pretty hard, and that's gonna mean, I'm doing that with far less caloric intake as well. So, definitely a really good balance. Okay. And then throw on plates. Now, but as far as TRT is concerned, I don't begrudge anyone who takes it. I only have a problem with the liars. So if you say you're natty, but you're on a ton of TRT, I have a problem with that because you're distorting what is realistically achievable if you are natty. Do I have any market predictions? Right now, I think we're going to see a little bit of a flat period for a month or two. Last 2 months, 3 months have been really, really good on the stock market. I don't think we're going to see a correction, or at least not a huge one, unless we start seeing some strange inflation numbers, which doesn't appear to be happening. We're in this weird zone where we are close to the Federal Reserve's goal of 2% inflation, but we're not there. Because of that, Federal Reserve probably doesn't want to risk reigniting higher inflation, and as a result of that, rates are probably going to stay about the same, which is going to put a damper on any faster economic growth. So, a lot of really good debates to have on that front. Isn't it to go up if they do any stimulus? Sometimes, but if that stimulus causes inflation too much, then it can backfire. Go ahead and turn off the light here. It's gonna work today? Yes, it is. Oh, it worked for 5 seconds. That ballast light has been a problem for fucking forever at this point. Hey, understanding one, welcome on in. Caught some of your streaming today yesterday. Glad the DC trip went well. Yes, that's where I was last week for those of you who don't know, but the DC trip did go very, very well. Let's go ahead and keep warming up because we've got a lot of work to do and we're already 15 minutes in and I haven't really done anything yet. So I've also had to take 3 different shits this morning. I didn't wake up early either. Woke up at like 7:30. I've already taken 3 shits this morning, and I don't know why. I didn't have a ton of fiber yesterday. Oh. Don't want to go quite that deep. Knees didn't really like that. I'm just not a fan of astic or squatting. Even in warm-ups, I don't like that range of motion. Just puts my knees at a disadvantage. Maybe it's poor ankle mobility on my part, but I don't care for it. So, we'll do one more warm-up set, just a couple reps of 225. Today we're going to do 6s. You can actually check my notebook to see what we did 6s at last time. It's about where I want to do them. I think it's going to be around 350. Might be a little more, might be a little less, but we'll see. This is just 215, so it's nothing crazy yet. See, if I was doing 5s at 355, yeah, I'd probably do 6s at somewhere around 350, maybe a bit less. Not really sure yet. Probably start maybe 335 to start. We'll see how it feels. I'm not really looking forward. Right. So again, when I was on the bulk cycle, when you're on the bulk cycle, you have more energy. When you have more energy, you're able to hit the weights a little bit harder. But on a cut, not quite the same. Oh, you couldn't get through these. Look, Joe Biden has actually done a pretty good job with the economy, but he's not mentally up there. It's so obvious. And it's so disgusting that the media tries to spin it as though he's perfectly healthy upstairs. It really kind of shows how just in the tank for the Democrats they are. The problem, of course, on the other side is that you have, Fox News and all the right-wing commentators dick-riding Trump as though Trump doesn't have mental slip-ups too. They're both too old for the job. And frankly, Republicans had the perfect candidate to demolish Biden. That candidate was Nikki Haley, and Republicans refused to vote for her because at this point, the GOP is a cult of personality. There are some issues I am strongly with conservatism and even with Trumpism on. But the entire party is based around whatever Donald wants. literally this whole compromise immigration bill got shot down, even though it was a step in the right direction. Wasn't perfect, but a step in the right direction. It got shot down because Donald Trump didn't want it to happen. Even though Donald Trump is not he's not a government worker right now. He doesn't have a job in any form of legislation. He said he didn't like it on social media, and so all the Republican lemmings said no to it, even though the Republicans were the ones who had a huge part crafting the bill. And that's really frustrating to me. A major political party should not be subject to the whims of one person. Oh. I do not like going that deep. I'm doing it to try and stretch out a little bit with a lighter weight and a greater range of motion, but the body does not like that. Is it in our control who gets elected? Yes. Well, if you're a United States citizen, it is. It's your job to vote in primaries. It is your job to vote in the election. And if you don't like either major party candidate, vote third party. It's not throwing away your vote. Even voting none of the above is a good protest. It is a form of speech. It is our duty as U.S. civilians. Vivek would have been better. He was running on the Trump model of drain the swamp. But drain the swamp, okay. Is there corruption in the U.S. government? Is there graft? Is there fraud? Absolutely. But the idea that you can take such a massive entity and just get rid of all the people working in it without having some serious adverse and negative effects is also silly. You have to be gradual, right? The US government is a Leviathan. It's an aircraft carrier. Change is not going to happen overnight. You have to make incremental changes. And the problem with a lot of extremists, both on the left and the right, is they hate that. They hate that answer. Even though it's the only one that's practically going to happen. You're not, right, an aircraft carrier does not do a U-turn. An aircraft carrier moves very slowly, but it is very powerful. Think of the United States government as an aircraft carrier. Correct answer, in my opinion, the best shot we had at having someone of sound mind in office was Nikki Haley, and the Republican, and I blame the average Republican voter for not realizing that sooner. Again, if your single most important thing in this election was saying Joe Biden is mentally incompetent and a threat to the country, if that was your opinion, then you should have voted for Nikki Haley, because every single poll showed Haley doing better against Biden than Trump. Every single poll. Every single one. If you're just talking about electability, hold everything else out, hold ideology, personality, whatever. If you're just saying, I want Biden out of office at all costs, Nikki Haley was the candidate to vote for. Republicans didn't do that. Okay. I will do the big announcement after a set here, though. And okay, I should mention too, is Nikki Haley like a perfect candidate? Absolutely not, okay? I'm a centrist, and I live in the state she used to govern in South Carolina for now. Nikki Haley's a conservative. Make no mistakes about it. She's an actual conservative in the way that Ronald Reagan was, not whatever the fuck Trump is. Trump is not a conservative. In fact, I can even argue Trump doesn't have a political ideology. Trump's political ideology is whatever suits Donald Trump at that moment in time. Okay, so big announcement is coming up. I'm gonna hit one set on this. This is 335. I should have no issue with this. We're going for sixes. I'm gonna have you guys move over here just for now as a squat depth check. Okay, so please check me for depth. Again, the other one I have to say is, look, age is a number, okay? If Biden was too old in 2020, then by the same definition, Trump must be too old in 2024. That's the other one that really bothers me. Both candidates are entirely too old for the deadliest and most stressful job in the world. It's that simple. Biden's too old, Trump's too old. Trump is also too fat. Did you see 1,000 Mules? I've never heard of that. They're all threats, they're wings to the same bird. Mega Man hated rhinos and Nikki was a rhino. No, Big Red. Nikki Haley is not a rhino. Look at her, look at the way she governed South Carolina 10 years ago. Nikki Haley is a conservative Reaganite Republican. That's not a rhino. If anything, Nikki Haley was closer to what traditional Republican values tend to be, right? A focus on the family, good moral conduct, fiscal conservatism, strong, trust but verify Reagan-style U.S. foreign policy. Nikki Haley was way closer to that than Trump is. I hate that. I hate hearing, right, like anyone who opposes Trump as a rhino is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because what that's really saying is the Republican Party is a cult of personality based around Donald Trump. Which is true, but the Republican Party used to stand for something, believe it or not. Used to be the party of Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I'd like to see that party come back. All right, here we go. Check me for depth, check me for back angle too, okay? Believe it or not, the Democratic Party used to stand for something too. Nowadays, it really doesn't. You guys were wondering the disillusioned centrist. Poll. Then we'll talk about the big news. All right. Depth was good. Back bent on the third rep, appreciated. That's 335 pounds. Right. So, the cult of personality, the difference, right, is that Ronald Reagan had a set of principles. Donald Trump does not. Right? Ronald Reagan's agenda was not what is best for Ronald Reagan. That's what it is for Trump. That's the difference. Okay. So we'll hit our next set in a moment. I disagree with that, FM. I don't think comparing Reagan to Trump in that way makes sense. Again, Reagan-era Republicanism actually had a core set of values. It had a party platform. Nowadays, the Republican Party doesn't even put out a party platform because it's literally whatever Donald Trump says it is. Anyway, so let's stop for a moment and talk about the big announcement now that we got a big crowd in here. It's the Democrats put forward during Bush too. Al Gore, if we had elected Al Gore in 2000, we would be a much stronger off country right now. Fun fact, if Ralph Nader didn't exist, all the causes Ralph Nader has championed over the years would probably be in better shape than they are today. Fuck Ralph Nader, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Part of the reason the American car industry got absolutely shellacked in the 1970s was because of Ralph Nader. Okay, so big announcement. For those of you who are in the Discord, you already know, time for me to tell Twitch. So, as you all know, I've been talking about potentially moving somewhere this year, leaving the state of South Carolina, leaving my home here. And that's what's going to happen. I, as of a couple days ago, have officially accepted an offer to work for the United States Navy at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, which is why I named today's stream Aloha. I'm going to the Aloha State. I'm extremely excited for this opportunity. It has been a really good, really productive 3 years here, but it's time for me to move on. I am excited for what lies ahead, and I'm excited for the journey that it's going to take me on. A couple things administratively that we need to talk about related to this. Okay? I will be exiting, I'll start my job out in Pearl Harbor in late May. I will be exiting South Carolina here at the end of the month. Due to the way raises work at my current company, I got my raise in the form of a lump sum bonus to be paid out at the end of the month. So I'm sticking it out till then. It's a couple $1,000s that I can use for moving costs, which is going to be very useful. I will be taking a road trip, okay, across the United States of America, okay? From here in my home in South Carolina, I will be driving through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, a good chunk of Texas. Both will be in both the Houston, College Station, and Dallas metro areas. New Mexico, Arizona, California will probably go through Los Angeles, and we'll probably, I want to see Muscle Beach for myself and humble myself because I'm nowhere near what those guys can do. I want to go through the Central Valley, maybe, depending on what is or is not on fire at that point in the state. Maybe see, you know, Stanislaus or Inyo or Sequoia or something like that. All through the Central Valley, so if you live, you know, Fresno, Stockton, probably be able to see me, Sacramento. Go through, I want to see Mount Shasta, Crater Lake in Oregon, and then up the coast to my mom's house in Washington State. So, you know, if you're in the Seattle-Tacoma metro area, you'll probably have a chance to hang out with me. If you want to hang out with me on anywhere along that trip, just talk to me. Get on the Discord, let me know. I love meeting my viewers. So I try to make myself very accessible. I pride myself on that. So if that's something you'd like to do, here you go. And then somewhere in early May, I'll be flying a one-way ticket from Seattle out to Honolulu, and from there it's going to be, you know, trying to set my life up. What house I'm going to have or apartment I'm going to have, you know, how I'm going to, you know, where on the island I'm going to live, how I'm going to set up lifting, and obviously as a result, what I'm going to do with the channel and how I'm streaming is a bit up in air right now. More developments will come. If you want the newest info on that, it'll be on the Discord. Yes, y'all, so Severus, being the awesome admin and mod on my team that he is, went ahead and made a little moving video. It's gonna be pretty good. Big Red, I've already thought about that. Getting my stuff off the mainland. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do another set, and I'm gonna talk about what I'm doing with the house, what I'm doing with my stuff, because there is some stuff to talk about there, okay? But first, I need to keep moving. I'm going very slow right now, so. Yeah, we're gonna stick with 335. I don't feel like going super crazy heavy today. We're only doing 3 sets at heavyweight today, and then we're going down. The next sets we'll be doing 2 sets of pause squats. So I'm gonna do that at 305. Let's do this. You know what? See how this looks like from the back angle. Come on, strong like bull. We're just going for 6 here, shouldn't be too hard. Come on! Is that bad? Get some Raiders. Come on. Bad? Nah, I could have gone for another rep or two there. Okay, good questions. Let's talk about it. So, first things, what am I going to do with all my stuff? Including this home gym, this house, my car. Okay, so let's start with my house. I have 2 roommates at the moment. One, as y'all know, Dodger is looking to move out. The other is looking to buy this place. However, due to current interest rates remaining high, both I and he are amenable to continuing a rental agreement until he wants to make a deal. The other thing he's interested in is a lot of this workout gear, which makes life very easy for me. It means I don't have to take a ton with me. I don't have to sell a ton. I've talked about, you know, what he does and doesn't want to buy. I still need to confirm a few things, but it's looking like most of the stuff I own, he's interested in keeping, which that's a godsend for me. Then, you know, not all of it. I'm gonna have to pare down some stuff. Then everything else. I've got a little basket that's tow hitch mounted. I'll put it on the back of my Volt and Jed Clampett style pack up the car, travel across the country. As for the car, it is usually more cost effective to sell your car on the mainland, ship what little stuff you have to ship, and then from there, buy most of your stuff secondhand on the island. Now, this isn't the case for all of Hawaii, but for Oahu in particular, it is. The reason being that Oahu, the island with the city of Honolulu on it, is home to 4 different military installations. Hickam Air Force Base, Coral Harbor, which I guess have now merged in our joint base, but still, right? So it's 2 different branches of the service. Schofield Barracks and Wheeler Airfield up in the center of the island, and Marine Base at Kaneohe Bay. What this means is you've got military personnel constantly moving in and out of the island, and as a result, the secondhand market is very, very strong, which means almost everything I'm going to need, I can buy for less secondhand on the island than I can buy new or keep and ship over. The cost of shipping it over is more expensive than simply selling it on the mainland and buying it over there. So that reduces the burden of what I have to take dramatically. This includes my car, which will be a sad moment. My Volt has been rock solid reliable for as near as makes no difference, 100,000 miles. I will be sad to sell it, but unless I can find a really cheap price calculator to get it over there, it just doesn't make sense to take with me. For multiple reasons. The first being I may be able to live car-free on Oahu, depending on where I live. The second being that I have a lot of options on the secondhand market for what's called island beaters. Small little economy ship boxes, right? Oahu is a small island, which means most people understand that a small island in the middle of the Pacific is going to have not a lot of miles one can drive and very high gas prices. So people tend to buy smaller cars out there. Things like Toyota Yaris or a Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla, that will do just fine for pretty much anybody who lives on the island. So if I do decide to buy a car, I will buy a small used, little economy car. Probably something like a Civic or a Corolla. That's the cars. Okay, what pushed Hawaii over Washington for the job bidding war? That's a great question. I'm gonna do another set and then I'm gonna answer it. Crosbow, I'm doing great. I think you missed the announcement, but Pearl Harbor gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I'm moving to Hawaii. I'll explain a little bit more on the exact rationale there, FM, because that's a very good question. Steady on foot, don't worry. Yeah, I got more in the tank than that. Plus, I'm taking a ton of rest between sets, so I'm having to explain all this. I knew it was going to happen, but I've only done 6 sets of my workout, and we're 40 minutes into the stream, which is not good. All right. I think I'm going to stick with... No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I gotta let my ego eat just a little bit. 350. Let's put on an even 350. We'll go for a 6 repper. I feel like I'm getting very deep on these too. I'll be interested to see. I think I may move you guys over to the side again for a depth check. You know, definitely important to do all that. So, yeah, I'm gonna move you guys over one more time for a depth check. Move y'all right there. Awesome. So, I'm gonna take a little leak. Excuse me. Oh, God. Okay. So we're gonna get right music on for this because I need something heavy. Yeah, well, I know that it felt like the last 2 sets were pretty good form, so I'm gonna hit it pretty hard here. We'll go from there. Let's go. Let's do a little Peace Cells by Megadeth. That's always a good one. Yeah. Do you think you'd be ready for a roommate situation? The jury is out on that one. Busy morning. All right, well, I appreciate that, Severus. Aloha, for sure. Might find a local at the home gym. So, being on, right, I'm going to be working on a military installation. And as you guys know, the military has PT standards. It's physical, physical tests. As a result of that, physical training tests, I should say. But as a result of that, both Hickam Air Force Base and Pearl Harbor Naval Station have gyms. So on work days, I will still have a gym, much in the same way that I have the site gym here. On days where I'm not working, this is the question mark. Yeah, I may have a roommate with a home gym. I may have to get a private gym membership. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet. I can take my power blocks with me and have abridged workouts and stream those. It really is a bit of a question mark at this point, and I don't know the answer. So I'm going to kind of figure that one out as we go. So I can't give you guys a true answer on that question yet. Anyway, let me suck myself up. I hit this. Strong like bull. Come on, let's do this. What do you think, Rob? form on that last one. I got it. Ugh. Come on. You guys over? Could go a tad deeper. Fuck! No! Won't be hitting parallel, man. That's annoying. Oh well. I think I ego lifted a bit there. I shouldn't have done 350. Alright. Nah, don't apologize. Honest feedback is important. John didn't do anything. I didn't do something. That was the problem. I didn't go deep enough. All right. Next we got pause squats. We'll take off. Weight. Just a 305. So, for these, we're going to hit a pause squat. The goal is going to be stay down at the bottom for at least 2 seconds. Some SSB work today. Box squats is annoying. Box squats kind of suck because it doesn't feel like you're getting a full ROM. So, okay, roommates. That's a question right now. If I wish to say, so here's a bit of my dilemma on that front. On one hand, yes, housing costs in Hawaii are going to be very high, and as a product of that, it will eat into my savings rate. I do not expect to save the same percentage of money in Oahu that I have here in rural South Carolina. I think anyone with a brain could have figured that one out. But, no, thanks for reposting, yeah, because it was starting to get buried. But, that being said, I also don't need to save the same amount that I've been saving here. And part of what I want to do is I've been thinking about having a 2-bedroom house or a 2-bedroom apartment, splurging on an extra bedroom because I'll have 2 days of telework, one, but more importantly than that, I have a lot of friends and family who, predictably, a little bit irritated by this, did not want to visit me in South Carolina. I had no interest in doing that, and now the second I announce I'm going to Oahu, all of a sudden I'm like, bro, when can I hang out? Shows you what some friends really are, but I still like hanging out with these people. So, on one hand, you know, it's going to be balancing the urge to save money versus the urge to splurge. The urge to splurge, there you go. Part of me is thinking I'm going to kind of base it off of, I think what I'm going to do is allow myself one higher expense item. In other words, I'll go for a nicer 2-bed apartment, and if I do that, I'm going to stay very close to the base or very close to public transit and go car free, or I'll have a roommate and a car for a year or two and embrace having cheaper rent that way, but add the expenses of having a car, which, right, insurance, registration fees, taxes, because everything in Hawaii is high tax, you know, that sort of stuff. So really, it's a bit of a question mark. I haven't come to a full decision on that one yet. I'm leaning towards the car-free 2-bedroom house route because there are bus lines that take you quite literally everywhere on the island. You know, yeah, it may take an hour or two to get to the North Shore by bus, but it was already going to take 40 minutes by car. And on that hour or two, you know, I can do stuff on my phone or read a book or, you know, get to talking with the locals because most of the people who are on the buses are going to be locals. And that's probably, you know, that's going to be the other thing, right? I acknowledge that I'm going to be called a fucking haole a lot of the time out there because I'm very white, very, very white, and I burn, I don't tan. But, you know, I want to respect the culture out there because Hawaiian culture is really neat. I want to, you know, try and make friends out there, you know, have a social life and all that stuff. You know, it'd be really cool to be the one haole that gets invited to the luau at some point. I'm not counting on it, but it would be cool if it happened. As for, you know, really what I don't want to be, I'm okay with being called a fucking haole. If I get called a fucking tourist, that's going to hurt a little bit, because, you know, I'll be working there. But, you know, that's really the big deal. As far as the FI date, yes, so today is actually Financial Fitness Friday, and I'll go a little bit more in depth on this when the workout's over because there's a lot of numbers involved. But as of right now, thanks to the very good performance of the stock market, which I'm not a huge fan of everything this administration has done, but managing the economy, with the exception of deficit spending that I honestly will pin more on Congress than on the presidency, they've done a good job. It's the same thing, I'll say the Federal Reserve has done a pretty good job. Yes, inflation got bad there for a little while, but it's now coming back down. Inflation's back down to pretty historically average levels. Wages are still rising, including for the working class. So things could be a lot worse there. You know, I think a lot of the issues people see in this economy, namely high housing prices, are not necessarily forces that one should blame on the feds, although the feds have a part to play in that. A lot of that's due more to local and state laws, where, particularly zoning regulations, where there is no room to build more dense housing. And it's a law of supply and demand, right? In the 1970s, we had half the population, and we were building more homes because the red tape to build homes wasn't near as severe. Now we've got way more red tape, double the population, and then we're shocked why housing prices have gone through the roof. It's not rocket science, it's supply and demand. Working past my FI date, given the nature of this job and the higher cost of living out there, that's more or less guaranteed at this point. I will likely, I'm going to probably work past May of 2025, but I won't have to. If I wanted to quit, I could at any time. I would have to return to the mainland because I'm going to try, and I think it's probably possible to live very lean out there. I'm not sure I would want to. That would probably require forever having roommates, which, eventually I'd like my own pad. But at current levels, if I wanted to, realistically, yeah, I could probably, move to a lower cost of living area on the mainland and never have to work another day in my life. But I'm really excited for this new job. I want to work at this new job, at least for a little while. I believe in the cause. It's obviously as a nuclear engineer, and if I'm working for the Navy, you can probably figure out what it is that I'll be doing. For OPSEC purposes, it's best I don't explicitly state it, but really you can put 2 and 2 together and get 4 on that one. So that's a good question. All right, so now let's do some pause squats. Thankfully, we've only got 2 sets on this. So we're going to go for a 2 count at the bottom. I'm putting my watch on the windowsill there, so I'm going to be looking at that and going real slow. I want to try and stop the motion at the bottom, so that's going to be the goal. I'm just going to put this down more. Range of motion is really key here, so that's going to be the ideal. Damn it. Fucking add. There we go. I think that was 6. Was that 5 or 6? How'd that look? I feel like depth-wise, I was very deep. I was down there counting sometimes between 2 and 3 seconds. At least that's what it felt like. I'm gonna stick with that. That felt pretty good. So what's coming next after one more set of that, we'll move to High bar squat, 2 sets of that with a wedge. Really work on that quad drive for 2 sets. Then we're done the heavy stuff. We'll move to, actually no we're not. We'll move to front squats, trap bar deadlifts, lunges, and Bulgarians. We have a lot to do today. I'll be dead at the end of this workout. That's good though, that's what you want. I get people DMing me in Discord while I'm live telling me I look good on stream. And it's like, I appreciate that, but I really don't like having to spend all my time on Discord midstream. Let's do Flower by Moby. That's a good one for this, this slow pause squat set. So yeah, we go for 6 there. Get a little protein in me. Probably, other reason I'm kind of dogging it today, apart from spending a lot of time talking with y'all, which again I knew was going to happen, is that this is my first heavy squat set into the cut. So we've been on a cut cycle for a week. I posted my numbers on stream. I weighed in I think 228 and change this morning, which is a little bit steeper a drop off than I would have liked. You know, I was at 232 previously last week. So 4 pounds in a week is not what we're looking for in the long run. We want to be at 1 pound a week kind of max. But I knew a good chunk of the first few weeks is going to be a little bit faster weight loss due to water weight. So, you know, I'm used to that. I think 4 pounds that's too fast. Which tells me I may need to even increase my cut calories from 2,900. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to give it another week or 2 before I reevaluate. What I may do is I think probably the wisest way to do it is go the first 6 weeks at 2,900, see where that puts us, and reevaluate at that point. That point's going to be mid-April too, so you know I'll be on the road a lot. I'm going to try and lift as best as I can. For those of you on my route, on my journey, you know that's going to be a really big thing for me. So if you want to lift with me, you will have that opportunity. Hey, Mikey, do you think you could do me a favor? I would love if the video Severus posted that shows my journey. If you can make that a command on my channel, just !travel or !journey, or !moving, whatever. That'll be really useful. Hey, hot sauce, how you doing? I don't know if you heard the news, but everybody else will tell you, in case you didn't, I got a squat set to do. These are pause squats, these fucking suck. You stay in the hole for a second or two. This is 305 pounds, which is about 140 kilos in we didn't go to the moon units. Did you see the giant Eddie Hall? Oh, now I am flattered. Handsome G-Man, look, I am extremely flattered, but to compare me to a lifting god like Eddie Hall, that's a bit too far. I am nowhere near. I am nowhere near that. I'm very flattered, but no. I wish I looked like Eddie Hall. I'm not that far. All right, let's hit a set. Strong leg pull, come on, let's go. more. Nice. Pull overs. Oh, oh, that hurts. Calves. Seen Eddie Hall about muscle. Well, I'm extremely flattered by that. I don't believe I am, but I'm honored. Thank you for saying so. That means a lot. Okay. Now we move on to high bar. And for high bar, we're going to go with 25-pound plates as wedges beneath the heels. And the reason we're doing this is to compensate for my poor ankle mobility and allow me to really hit quad drive, get those Tom Platz kind of quads going. I got cutting to do as well, so that's where we're at right now. Let's go with that company next. Oh, that's that hard. And then I got about halfway through the workout. I'm 6'3" on the dot. I actually, by the way, thanks for the first time chat. One other thing, for those of you who are wondering about that AMA stream, we are like 30 followers away from 2,000. We get to 2,000, I will do in my Discord, NSFW, any question goes AMA. Might be a truth or drink stream, but the drink might be milk, so I'm going dry for 2024. It's getting very warm in here. You can tell springtime has arrived here in the glorious Palmetto State. Let me go ahead and turn the fan on. I need air intake. I feel like I'm going so slow today for the wuss, but yeah, what are you gonna do? But yeah, hot sauce, in case the news isn't clear, I'm moving to Hawaii. But yeah, I'm 6'3", roughly 228 right now. Just started a cut cycle a week ago. First day of the cut was February 29th. So my goal is to get down to about 215 while preserving all the muscle on my body over the course of about 18 to 21 weeks. So we'll be looking at, you know, we'll be looking at about a 14-ish pound loss from this week, which is roughly 50,000 calories in deficit over the course of, 18 weeks. So 18 weeks times 7, right? That's going to be 126 days. Yes, I'm an engineer. Oh, what's up, Emlem? I didn't realize it was you. But that can't be right. I think it's someone else. Anyway, this is 126 days for about 50,000 calories, which means you need to be averaging about a 400 to 500 calorie deficit a day and no more. Usually, my TD double E, I think, bounces between 3,000 and 3,500 calories, so 2,900 calories is about the most aggressive I'm probably going to go for a while. Means so hot. Oh, okay. Appreciate that. But as time goes on, right, because I'm losing weight, my natural BMR will fall, and my energy expenditure for both activity and non-activity thermogenesis will fall a little bit as well, which means that deficit will get smaller and the weight loss will get slower as the weeks go on, which is what we want. The other thing is 2,900 calories gives me a margin for error. If I overeat, a little bit, say I'm 3,200 calories, if I've lifted, I'm still in a deficit that day. It's just a small one, which is just where we want to be anyway. So, yeah. All right. Come up sky toe. My rain is overdue. So what we're doing now is take these 25-pound plates. Y'all can't see them, they're just at the bottom of the screen. But placing my heels on them, and we're going to do, split them a bit. We're going to go, right, a lot more vertical on the spine, really work on that quad drive. That's going to be the goal here. And we're going to do a high bar position. So, right, the last ones I've been using a shelf on my scapula as a low bar. This is going to be resting more in my traps as a high bar. Does that make sense? Am I finished? No. Bro, I ain't even close. Because of the big news today, obviously I'm going very slow, having to talk a lot, which makes recovery a lot more difficult. For that reason, I'm going to shut up and get some oxygen into my system before I attempt this. What did we do last time on this? Yeah, I gotta see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Listen to me. Noticing how off center this is. Means I'm going to hit the side post. I don't want that. That's a little bit better. All right. Take two. Oh, that's it. That's better. Come on. Come on. One more. That's good. I like that. Really hit my quads good. Rollovers. Oh boy. We have a long way to go till we're done. So that's gonna mean my next song is a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. I feel like I was hitting really good depth there. Really filling up my quads, which is what we want. So we've got, let's see, this is my last heavy set of squats, or even moderate sets of squats. So we got 9, 15, 16 sets done, 14 to go. No, we're just over halfway. But it gets a little easier after this. We do 3 sets of front squats, then we're done the squats for today. Trap bar deadlifts, lunges, and Bulgarians. You know, I think I may just do kettlebell swings instead of Bulgarians today. If I'm doing lunges, I'm going to do Bulgarians. Probably a little bit easier. People do dumbbell lunges too. Make things a bit easier still. But no, we got some work to do before we can be done. Feeling a little nauseous too. It's a good sign. It's all right. I was kind of surprised by the lack of interest or lack of questions happened on the announcement this morning. But I guess I shouldn't have been after last night because that's the same thing that happened. I guess most of y'all just like that I'm a pretty face and a strong body. That's okay. What are you gonna do? If I'm just able to help one person through all this, that's more valuable to me anyway. So, I'm gonna go ahead and still psyched up. We got one more of those. I keep going real deep. Work with them high bars. Could do hanging leg raises as well. Just as a little ab work. That'd be worth doing. We'll see. You know what time it is. It is a long way to the top. And I'm nowhere near it. Although once this cuts over, I think I'm going to be pretty damn close. And I deadlifted 500 with my peak deadlift on bulk. I have absolutely no desire to go any higher. Ugh. Playing rock and roll. Yeah, getting stoned, getting beat up, broken bones. Let's see this. Back class, let's go. Come on! One more! Ladies in the hot sun know the reason why. Getting old, getting gray, getting ripped off on the pay, getting sold second hand. That's how it goes. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Tying us. Thank you very much for Pec Bounce Redeem. You got it. You catch my breath so I actually do it properly. There you go. There's your pec bounce. So now we got 3 sets front squat, 3 sets kettlebell swings, 3 sets lunges, 4 sets trap bar deadlifts. Kind of debating how I want to do this. Yeah, okay. We're going to do the kettlebell swings and front squats together, and then we'll do the lunges and the trap bar deadlifts. Yes. Yes, that's what we'll do. It's hard. This is it's a lot of volume, and I'm on reduced calories right now, So I am starting to run out of gas, which is not good. I've got a lot of volume left. I've got 13 sets left to do. I think I may go down weight for the trap bar deadlifts and not quite hit it to the same degree just because I went heavier on squats today. I think that may be the move. You know, sets of 12 to 15 at a lighter weight. Okay. God, love. Oh. Yeah, just a lot of pain in the legs, which is good. Glutes really feel the quads, and that's only going to get harder on these sets. Come on, strong like bull, don't quit. You got this. Just go strong like bull. And I'm dying here. This is hard. You guys want to see what, exerting yourself looks like. Pulling that weakness out of you. Giving it your all. If that's not what you're doing in the gym, you are leaving gains on the table. Oh, I feel nauseous though. Thanks, Crossbow. The difference in how I feel though is stark. Going from a calorie surplus to a calorie deficit. You feel weaker. You have to believe that you're feeling stronger, but it's the fatigue that sets in faster, right? I'm at 19 sets in out of 30, and if I'm feeling like this, right? Yeah. But that's, if you want the six pack, you have to chisel away the belly fat. That's the last thing to go. Weight in it, I said earlier, 228 and change, 17.5% body fat. Seems a little bit like an underestimate. I bet more 19 to 20 for me right now, but right, if I can lose, 5% body fat out of 228, right, that's about 12, 13 pounds, put me around, 14%, maybe even 13%. That's going to put me, just a tick at 215 if I can retain the muscle. And the only way I can do that is by eating massive amounts of protein, not having too many calories, and most importantly, getting enough rest. Rest is critical. I learned that the hard way last year, the year before, and the year before. I don't feel so good. I'm gonna carry on to the best of my abilities, but after this, I'm definitely not hitting trap bar at. Last time I was doing sets of like 8 at 3. What was I doing? 320. Yeah, we're not doing that. I'm gonna try the first set at 270, and then you can go down to 220, or 230. That'd be 280 to 230. Excuse me. Trap bar's 50 pounds. Oh my God, there it is. That right there was the source of all the nausea. So all this heavy breathing, right, when you're squatting, naturally you're going to intake some air in your stomach. And then that's what happens. You can clip that burp if that's your thing. There's someone in here who likes that. Strongly pull. Strongly pull. Come on, you only got 2 sets of this left. You need 6. If you want us, you could have got 8 last set. Get 6 this set. Soldier on. Let's go. Don't quit. Don't give up. Strongly pull. In this room entirely too late. Remember, the only rule of this chat is to not get me kicked off of Twitch, so it is 18 plus, so look, it's with any of the clothes I wear. It's because I bulked, right? When I bulked, my squat went from 405 to 440. I put on a lot of strength. Well, my deadlift went up too, so where is all that strength going to be? It's posterior chain. It's going to be glutes, of course, but it's also going to be hamstrings and thighs. I've got the measurements to prove glutes went up. For instance, I measured glutes today. I was at 40, right? So measurement, took a tape measure around the glutes, is just a tick under 42 inches. It was maybe 40, 39 and a half to 40 inches before my bulk. So, that's going to show up no matter how you slice it. No, the best features are not in Georgia. On many levels, that statement is true. What's up, JJ? JJ guy? Excuse me. Okay, let's just go. It's not the shorts. No, no, you're good, you're good, you're good. It's not the shorts, it's me. All of my shorts look like this right now. I've put on a ton of muscle mass in the glutes. That's why it looks like that. Like, doesn't matter what pair of shorts I'm wearing at this point. It really doesn't. Also, Galaros, the good news for you is that I export my lifting streams to YouTube, and you can always watch the VOD. So, yeah, you came too late to see it live, but you can still see it. The bulk was successful. I appreciate that. That was not easy. So, what are we gonna do for lunges? I think for lunges we'll do 50s. That'll be the next set. So 20, 30, 40, 50. If I have to get rid of these power blocks, I'm just sad. They've been so nice. Come on. 30, 40, 50. There we go. My legs are absolutely shot. Slide over to your YouTube channel and get views. I mean, I don't really care about views on my YouTube channel. I don't really care about views even on here. I just like being able to help people, right? Notice how few ads you've seen this entire stream. I know I say this a lot, but yeah, I'm touting that you don't, I'm not going to sell you something. The only thing I'm selling you is hard work. This channel is about helping people, right? I get paid enough on my day job. I'm almost financially independent anyway. I don't need the fucking money. It's nice, you know, tips are always appreciated. I have an exclamation mark tip command, but that's not why I do this. If I wanted to monetize this, you'd be seeing a lot more ads. You'd probably see sponsors, which is what a lot of other fitness and health streamers do on Twitch. And hey, they gotta get their bread. I don't begrudge them that. That's not why I'm here. Okay. Chocolate drink looks delicious. It's not bad. It's Costco brand protein powder, PB Fit peanut butter, or peanut protein, and just water and ice. If you really want it to taste like something you get at a Sonic or a Dairy Queen, use milk instead of water. But I like having my milk separately. There's more fluid, makes me feel fuller. Drinking lots of water is critical if you want to cut properly, otherwise you'll be hungry all the time. And dehydrated, which dehydration plus low calories equals a big fucking disaster. You get lightheaded and pass out. Right? When you go in a caloric deficit, there will be some water you're missing from the food you're not eating. You have to compensate for that by drinking more water. It's just vital. Especially if you've got a high protein diet, your liver and kidneys will have to work harder to process it. It's fine as long as you're giving them plenty of water and, well, minimizing your alcohol intake. You don't have to go completely dry like I've gone, but it's been working for me, I'll put it that way. I'm now more than 2 months completely sober. I haven't touched alcohol since December 31st, and I really don't have a desire to touch it again. My drug are the barbells. All right, we're gonna throw Iron Man by Black Sabbath on here. This is our last squat set of the day. Let's see, we've done 3 front squat sets, 2 high bar front squat sets, 2 pause squat sets, and 3 back squat sets at low bar. So this is my 10th set of squats for the day, which would explain why I'm feeling this exhausted. Cover junkie, yes, tap water. Tap water here in the state of South Carolina is pretty high quality. I've never had any issues with it. Granted, I moved here from Texas, where the quality of the tap water is very low. Texas, especially the further west you go in the state, has pretty abysmal tap water quality. If you've ever been to the town of Midland, Odessa, out in the Permian Basin, you'll see what bad water actually tastes like. Once you've lived in West Texas, water anywhere else tastes pretty damn good. But here in South Carolina, yeah, the water quality is very good. It's locally sourced from over in the Savannah River, and then it's sent to a local water treatment facility, which does a very good job. So no complaints from the tap water here. Bottled water is a scam. It's mostly tap water that they're selling. How much would you pay for something that's free or so cheap you can barely meter it? No, tap water is fine. You know, if you really feel the need, get a filter. Well, okay, yeah, PFAs suck, but bottled water is going to have PFAs in it too. Filtered water is going to have PFAs in it too, right? This is Stoicism. PFAs are literally everywhere. They found PFAs at the bottom of the ocean. So I don't worry about them. That's the whole point of Stoicism. Don't focus on that which you can't control. You know, I'm not going out of my ways to consume PFAs, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's not some great giant fucking conspiracy, but a lot of that's starting to get banned from food packaging. So progress is being made, albeit slowly. As is so much in the world. There's shades of gray to the problem. Here we go, last set. Forever chemicals. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do, right? They're already out there. You can't avoid them. So what's the use of being scared or paranoid about them? What good does that do you? What would the point of that be? I can quote from Marcus Aurelius to explain my philosophy on that, but I think I don't need to. That's how poison works. Well, okay, great. Again, what do you suggest be done about it? Like, it's already out there. It's not something you can avoid. It's already there. You know, I don't worry about it that much. Always good to have you back in the chat there, Dale. Good old Dale. This last set on squats. Strong leg pull, let's go. Come on. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty nauseous at this point. I find it very amusing. People get so concerned about things like forever chemicals, but choose to eat horrific for you fast food, drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, and drink soda. One is poison you can't control, one is poison you can. Sit and rest. It's trouble with being in a caloric deficit. Let's go with a little more relaxed out. This isn't the thrill of it all. I was going to alternate lunges with trap bars. I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to do my 4 sets of trap bars first, and then I will move to lunges, which I'll do at higher reps, almost a sort of a cool down cardio type thing, as opposed to alternating, just because that's a space constraint. It's a little bit easier to do it that way. So that's how we're gonna roll. I think I can put this up though. Nice. Now, move this out the way, just for now. Yeah. So I think I'm going to start with a set of 10. See how it feels. Hey, Porthos, how you doing? Good to see you. I'll back you guys up though. You don't have a good angle here. That should do a little better. Yes. So bench just a bit closer. When I sit, y'all can actually see me. We'll do sets of 10 to start. If I feel like I need to go down weight, I will. I don't think I'm going to go up weight from this. My legs are pretty shot. I can feel my knees are sore, hips are sore, glutes are sore, quads are sore. Hamstrings a bit less than I would like today, but on a squat day that's to be expected a bit. Hamstrings I tend to hit more with my deads, which we'll do a little bit up here, so should be alright, should be good. Okay. Massive cleaning the home right now, so turn on eye candy. Aw, I appreciate that. Here we go. Good, yeah, well, that felt good. I'm going to stick to that. Ooh, lightheaded. Oh. My workout today is moving 7-foot tall cabinets myself, eating the alive. Woo! Yeah, that'll do it. That's good. That's real good. I'm dying. It's almost 11. I'm going for almost 2 hours. I still have 6 sets to go. 3 more sets on trap bar, and then 3 sets of lunges. Fuck me, man. This has been a hard workout. It's not any higher volume than what I'm used to, but whew, the weight is a lot higher than it was because I've added strength. But now that I'm on a calorie deficit, it's eating me. The home renovations of full body workouts, yes they are. For sure, for sure. What's new with me? I guess you missed the big announcement, huh, Porthos? Are you on my Discord? Check the announcements page in Discord. That or someone else will tell you. I did another set real quick here. Sir. 2 more.
Man, always flattered when people try to DM me midstream, but like, if I pay attention to your DMs, it's taking away from everybody else's viewing experience. Have some empathy. It's not all about you. It's the same people who ask me how I'm doing in my DMs. I have a server. If I don't, like, it's there for a reason, use it. Because I hate having the same conversation with dozens of people. It's really annoying. It makes me, it's inconsiderate is what it is, right? I have almost 2,000 followers on here. You know, if everybody just felt entitled to only use my DMs and never ever engage in the community, be it in the Twitch chat or in the server, I would be unable to function. I would have so many DMs to respond to that I couldn't do it. I would just give up. And so it's this entitlement attitude from some of my viewers that just bothers the hell out of me. Now, if you have something private you want to talk to me about, by all means, I keep my DMs open for that. But stop acting like you deserve special treatment. It's really not fair to me to do that, especially when you know that I'm streaming and you know that I'm talking to 20 plus people in one chat. To distract me, really annoying. Because I've had that happen to me. Like so I made my big announcement yesterday in the Discord server, and I was like, yo, I'll be in the VC lounge, so that way if you guys want to come ask me questions and all that, you can do that, or you can ask me in text, and I get a bunch of DMs instead. What the fuck, guys? Look, I do my best to make myself available to everyone, because if I just pick my favorites, that's gonna piss a lot of people off. By refusing to interact with me with any other form than DMs, it's really annoying. It's really frustrating. And it's a rule I have had on my Discord for damn near years at this point. But I try to be a nice guy and respond to everybody via DMs. I'm gonna have to stop. It's getting really annoying. Look, again, if there's private or intimate or you want advice, you're shy, I get it. But meet me halfway here. If you're just trying to ask me how I'm doing, or how my day is going, or how my week was, or anything like that, stop doing that in DMs. Just ask me in the server, for God's sake. There's no one person who's guilty of doing this, by the way. It's dozens of people. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's really, really annoying, especially when I'm live. It's because certain people feel entitled to my attention above all else. It's like, yeah, but I thought I was your friend. Well, right, a lot of people are my friends. But by paying specific attention to you, I'm detracting from everyone else's viewing experience. And it's just really, really annoying. Most YouTubers, most other Twitch streamers, most other content creators just block people from their DMs. I don't do that because I like being available if you really do want the help or advice. But there's a big difference between that and asking me how I'm doing. Really, really annoying when you just slide in my DMs for no obvious reason. Okay, sorry, rant over. And again, if you're one of the people, if you're one of the people who is, just shy or anything like that, I'm not trying to be mean. If you're one of the people who is doing this the last few days, you're not the only one who's done it. So don't feel like I'm attacking you, okay? But this is not sustainable. I can't continue to do this. So I'm gonna have to put out another rule. I'm gonna have to put out an announcement about this, just because it's just getting really frustrating. Yeah. I can't continue to operate like that. It's not fair to me. I try my best to be, I think I do a better job than almost every other content creator about making myself accessible. And you guys take advantage of that, and it pisses me off. Alright, one more set of traps and then trap more deads and then. Oh my god. Lightheaded. 3 sets of lunges after that. Alright. I'm done ranting about this, but it's getting to the point where like it's costing me sleep. And the problem is once I indulge one person, right, in the DMs, I have to indulge everyone, because that's unfair otherwise. I really try not to give out unequal treatment. No, I didn't message you because I know you're just interested in a couple shekels. Whoa! Okay, buddy. Dolores, that's uncalled for. If I was interested in doing this for the money, you'd be seeing a lot more ads and product placements right now. I get offers and I turn all of them down. I'm not doing this for the money. I have a day job for that. I do this because I like helping people, but I'm drowning right now in my DMs. That's the problem. I have people, right, for every person who really does want my help, you know, everybody's refusing to use the server for that. For whatever the fuck reason. I don't know what it is. The trouble is, it puts a burden on me. I'm getting really tired of it. I'm not saying you were. It looks like you're saying I was. Just think it's nice to hear that perspective. Okay, I misunderstood that. Sorry. As you can imagine, the blood's not really flowing in my head quite as smoothly right now. Yeah. I don't want to become distant with my fans, especially the OGs that have been around for a long time, but I have to find a better balance than this. Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't have to treat everyone the same, but I would feel bad if I did. Like if I didn't. I feel like it's the right thing to do. Yeah, it's about having integrity. Yeah, I read that the wrong way too. Yeah, I think that may have come off a different way than you intended. Okay, this is the last set on the heavy stuff. And finally roll into lunges. Last set on trap bars. That's not my intention. Oh no, that's fine. It's all right. I get that wasn't your intention because you're not like that. You're pretty chill about it. I think I just misunderstood you. Sorry about that. Again, the blood ain't flowing up here. My bad. Last set, come on. Oh, thank fuck, I'm done with that. But my heart's beating really fast right now. I'm out of gas. I can keep going, but this is getting very difficult. Like I'm close to hitting the wall. Maybe I have meme culture references. Hey, Luke the Loquacious, it's been a minute. Good to see you. I don't play Final Fantasy 14, and I also don't get the reference. Sorry. See you, Luke. Good to have you. Thanks for the alert, or whatever you're doing. Okay, last sets. So, what we have here is 2 plates, 25 pounds apiece, stacked on top of each other. We're going to do deficit lunges. Oh my god. Yeah, I feel like a little bit ill at this point. Too much in the way of fluids. Not enough in the way of calories. I go barefoot for these because these are cheap ass Walmart grade knockoff Chucks, and they're just not all that durable. So I want them to last. Lunges is a good way to destroy cheap shoes. So I go barefoot. this. Whoa! Okay, that slipped. Alright, we're gonna go down to one plate. That's not ideal. That's not safe. There we go. Whoa. I don't like that. It's not a big enough plate. We're gonna use a different plate. Something a little bit more stable. It does not feel good. It's okay to not pause to do those slow. Yeah, I'm trying to do those slower. I'm not used to doing those on the metal plate, and there's holes in the metal plate, so unless you place your foot really right, it's putting some, it wasn't ideal. I shouldn't have used the metal plate for that. I should use the bumper plate, which is what I'm going to do this time. That's why I put the bumper plate here. No, I should have been going slower there, and I wasn't. So that set was not good form on my part. All right, 2 more sets and we're done. I'm just completely cooked right now. Tomorrow's workout, we've got push day, so it's gonna be shoulders, triceps, and chest. It's gonna be shoulder dominant. The last push day I did was bench dominant, so we're doing a lot of pressing. We'll be doing dumbbell bench, more time under tension sort of stuff. Maybe some incline press, we'll see. Maybe some dumbbell flies, stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I should be doing those slower. The lower side, I did not have good form there. I thought the metal on metal would have a little bit more friction than it did. I should know better. It did not, and so I originally had 225. I had 2 of these stacked on each other, and when I landed my foot on there, one slid out. I'm like, whoa, that's not safe. That kind of set the tone for a bad set. I'm still counting it. At this point, I'm just fucking cooked anyway, but that was not how you should do that. Right, so that's a lot more stable right there on this bumper plate. So. Here we go. Let's try that again. That's much better. Go deeper. Oh, for stability. Yeah, I'm just using the wrong plate. Really feel that in my hamstrings. That's better. Let's stick with that. Nice. So calves are weird. It's hard, unless you were previously kind of heavy set, to build your calves. Calves are the thing that probably improves really, really fast when you bulk, right? Because every step you're taking is at a heavier weight, so your calves are having to put in more exercise just to move you. Really depends. Busting perfectly, I let you work out in peace. No, you're not pestering actually, Lars. You're 100% dead on the money there. I just made a poor decision in how I was going to do those deficit lunges the first set. That second set felt pretty good. I felt like I was going. I mean, my knee was maybe an inch from touching the ground, which is about where you want it to be. If that second set was still moving too fast, please say so. No. Dolores, I want to make sure, right? So form critique is welcomed on this channel. It's extremely welcomed, actually. I ask for depth checks and form checks all the time. The only thing I don't like are what I like to call form Nazis. And form Nazis are people who insist that the only form that is correct is their form, and that they'll be the type to come in and say, yo, your form is trash, and then not elaborate on why, and then just insult you the entire time. Like that kind of person, one, has very poor social skills, and two, is never going to convince anybody that he's right. I've never seen a girl do that, so usually form Nazis are guys. Oftentimes they're very weak guys, trying to compensate for their lack of muscle by trying to criticize stronger people on their form. How am I saying my form is perfect all the time? Hell no. But, right, there is such a thing as being so obsessed with form that you're sacrificing gains by not hitting the weight as heavy as you should. With poor social skills, just differently. I wouldn't say that. You have better social skills than a lot of people who hang out on my channel. Grogster, my bad. I am back. So for those of you who weren't around on stream last night, yeah, I took a trip up to Washington, D.C. Last week. Went to Arlington for the first time alone. It was very emotional. I talked about that already, and it's kind of a depressing subject, so I probably won't spend a lot of time on it today. Saw all my relatives and discussed what my big announcement, if I was doing the right thing, and talked it over. Always important to seek the counsel of people you respect and family, but my mind was pretty much made up when I went up there, but it's always important for them to, back check your logic and reasoning. It's important to do that. Listen and take counsel from people who you respect. It's important to do. That's why, whenever John is hiding in the box shows up on my stream, I'm always super interested in what he has to say. Because that dude is a fucking beast. Mikey, you mind giving John a shout out? I think he was in here earlier and I just forgot to do it. Because John is awesome. Alright. Let's hit this last set and be done. I'm just completely cooked. In honor of where I'm going, I think I'm going to play Miserlou by Dick Dale. Early 60s, a little surf rock. I'm on 5. Seven. All right, lost my I'm done. I'm cooked. All right, bring it in, y'all. The lieutenant from Iraq is there. God bless him. God bless his family. Hey, your shout-out command did work, Mikey. I think you just may not be showing on your stream, but it worked just fine. Grogster, my father served 29 years. He made general officer. When he went, we got the full 21-gun salute and everything. So, you know, I don't want to talk a ton about that today. I talked about that yesterday, and it was hard. So, let's move on. It is Friday, and we are finished with our workout. Boy, howdy, was it ever difficult. That was, let's see, what time is it now? It is 11:25, so, you know, once I finished warming up, that was a 2-hour workout, which tells me I'm probably going to burn a bigger deficit today, which is all right. You know, I'm hoping the weight comes off a little bit quicker because I don't like the way I look right now. Look at this. Look at that. Squishy squish. I don't like it. Get rid of it. Tell you what else, I miss having the bicep pump too. My buys look fine, and they're bigger than they were. There's no pop. Looking for full range exercises to help shed some pounds. I assume you're meaning body fat. Thoughts, squats are the king of exercises. Do squats. If you want abs, do squats. If you want a big chest, do squats. If you want big legs, do squats. If you want a strong back, do squats. Do squats, and then do more squats. There's a reason I did 10 total sets with 4 different variations today. And it's hard. Don't do light. If you're gonna do lightweight squats, you better be killing it on reps. Like, the whole point of squats is you want to be breathing like a steam locomotive at the end of your reps. You want to be, because what you're doing is forcing oxygen into your rib cage, expanding your rib cage, and that's why I look like this, right? Like my chest looks huge when I do that. No, Bulgarians are awesome. I put so much volume into this workout that I decided to make it a little easier on myself and do kettlebell swings instead. But shedding pounds, in terms of shedding body fat, the only way to do that is run in a caloric deficit. Eat fewer calories than you intake, and eat enough protein to preserve the muscle you have. That's called a cut cycle, and that's what I'm doing. I can give you the exact numbers if you were curious. So, okay, let's recap a little bit on stream today. I hit, God, my head. I'm still just trying to catch my breath, let the blood flow in my head. This is a really hard workout. Recap. I am moving in April west out of South Carolina. So if you live in the following states: Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Oregon, Washington, or Hawaii, you may have the shot if you want to, lift or hang out or get a meal or go for a walk or something like that. I love meeting my audience in person. It makes the friendships feel a lot more real than just a profile on Twitch or on my Discord. So, that is a lot of the country, and I would be very happy to meet anyone who wants to. But you got to come talk to me. You have to be the one to make it happen. Okay, I can't be expected to psychically remember where you are, you out of, again, there are 1,900, almost 2,000 other followers on this channel. I don't know where everybody is located, and it's not fair of me to expect me to try. That's not really realistic. So if you want that to happen, you have to make that happen. Check out Ticketmaster. Galaris,
I'll delete that. I don't like advertising. Even joking advertisements. Let's delete that comment. Ticketmaster is pretty shitty. I don't like their business model. It's a shit ton of fees anyway. But no, Georgia's beautiful. I don't live that far from Augusta, for what it's worth. Thank God I'm getting out of here before Masters Week, because Masters Week here is use a military term, a Charlie Foxtrot. It's bad. All the Yankees come down, and it wouldn't be a problem if it was just the Midwesterners. The Midwesterners, their cars are rot boxes. The fundamentally unsafe cars I see, particularly with Michigan and Ohio license plates that come down. I don't think Michigan believes in car inspections, but they're overall pretty nice. And they don't know where they're going, but at least they go at reasonable speeds. The problem is those people mixed with people from Massachusetts, who also don't know where they're going, and New York. They also don't know where they're going, but they go 10 miles over the speed limit at all times. And when you mix those two crowds, what you get is a complete Charlie Foxtrot. So not ideal. Anyway, so that's where I'm moving. The reason I'm moving is because I have gotten a new job in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii for the U.S. Navy. You can figure out, based on what you know as my day job, what I would be doing for the Navy. It's not particularly rocket science. So I'm really excited about all that. The job itself is something I'm very passionate about. It's for a cause I believe in. I believe the United States, right there, the world abhors a power vacuum. So there's got to be at least one superpower in the world. We can work in a bipolar world. That's what the Cold War was. We can work in a multipolar world, or we can work in a unipolar world. But the United States is by far and away the best option, at least until the Europeans get their shit together, which they're finally doing because Donald Trump scared them into it, frankly. I don't like a lot of what Donald Trump did, but actually getting the Europeans to be serious about their defense commitments was one of the best things Donald Trump ever did, and continues to do. The Europeans were mooching off of us, frankly, in a lot of the sense. So that's very good. With the exception of the Eastern European countries, the countries that dealt with 60-odd years of Soviet tyranny understand what a threat that is, and they understand how precious democracy can be. With the exception of Hungary, who's run by an idiot. Viktor Orban's a jackass. But anyway, did we do the pec bounce? We did. But so the other one's going to be the other two credible superpowers in the world, apart from the United States, are the Chinese, right? Because China has a very strong economy. It's been having some sputtering coming out of COVID because the authoritarian policies related to COVID lockdowns were extremely counterproductive for the economy, and Xi Jinping has been making it very difficult for outside investors to feel confident in investing in China. I think that will change. I think while Xi Jinping is very authoritarian, I think he is smart enough to understand that outside investment is a key to continuing to grow the Chinese economy, and the Chinese Communist Party only carries as much legitimacy insofar as that economic standards of living keep rising for the Chinese citizen, which, as much as I can't stand communism and I can't stand the heavy-handed tactics of the CCP, the Chinese have very successfully done ever since the most evil man in the world ever kicked the bucket in 1976. So the Chinese are the second option, and the third one, and increasingly less feasible, is going to be the Russians, because the Russians have turned into a wartime economy. The Russians have a very strong military, and they have, of course, a very big nuclear arsenal. But what they lack is a functioning 21st century economy. And what Putin has chosen to do is reverse a lot of the positive decisions made in the first decade of the 21st century by returning to an almost neo-Soviet style economy, which is going to ultimately ruin the standards of living for the average Russian and ruin the economic productivity of the country. It's going to turn Russia into something more resembling North Korea than resembling China. I don't think China is the sleeping dragon. I think everyone at this point is aware of Chinese power. I don't think China is as strong as the United States, though. China has some structural instabilities that are going to be really hard for it to overcome. In the same way that a lot of people got scared about Japan in the 1980s, the scares over China are very similar. I'm not calling China a paper tiger, but China has an extremely low birth rate, and unlike the United States, where immigration is a strength of ours, it always has been. Now we need to fix our immigration problems. We're not handling it correctly, but because we are diverse here, and I hate the uber politically correct, oh, diversities are strict. That is largely bullshit, but because we're less xenophobic than most other countries, our lower birth rate is counteracted a lot by immigrants. Whereas in China's pretty xenophobic. Most East Asian countries are, it's just cultural. As a result, China cannot turn to immigration as a band-aid to fix the extremely quickly aging population. South Korea, Japan, well, Japan's already had this issue. It's why they've had, a large part of why they've had the lost decade, plural. Only recently did the Nikkei, I think it's the Nikkei 500, the Japanese stock index, finally top where it was in 1989. So that is 35 years it took to overcome that. So that is just how robust. I think a lot of people, because they see American political dysfunction, underestimate how strong the American economy is. And that's not a wise thing to do. The United States is still extremely strong. Do we have our problems? Yes. The difference is we're very open about our problems. You can see the dysfunction in the United States. The dysfunction in other countries is hidden, but it's just as insidious. India could become the next great superpower, but India is currently still too poor economically right now. I think they are rising fast, though. I welcome a strong India, by the way. India is a democratic country, for better or for worse. Is it a perfect democracy? No, but you could argue the United States isn't either. I see a lot of positive things in the rise of a strong India. I think a strong India is good for the world. So definitely, and by the way, if I have to choose between India and Pakistan, Pakistan can go to hell because I harbored bin Laden for 10 years. So why we ever allied with them in the Cold War is beyond me. That was one of the stupidest things we ever chose to do. We should have gotten over ourselves. Yeah, no, we didn't like Indira Gandhi, but you know what? India was a better option. Instead, we let the Soviets warm up to India. That was stupid. Objectively fucking stupid. We picked the wrong side there. We also picked the wrong side in Vietnam. We sided with the French for some fucking reason. We should have, like, Ho Chi Minh was not a hardcore communist. He just wanted Vietnamese independence, and he didn't care who was going to help him do that. And again, we picked the French for some stupid fucking reason instead of doing the correct thing and, you know, committing to the end of imperialism. Frankly, that was one where we and the Soviets should have seen eye to eye. Now, I would have preferred, you know, obviously you don't want a communist Vietnam, but you could have probably turned them into, you could have had a more Tito-style Vietnam where they may be more socialist-leaning or communist-leaning, but not allied with the Warsaw Pact, not allied with China. The Vietnamese and the Chinese, they do this. I have a lot of respect for Vietnam in general. Again, they bitch-slapped the French for, you know, 5-10 years after World War II. They gave us a hell of a fight. You know, we had a damn good run in terms of, you know, trying to protect South Vietnam, but we lost that war. It's tough to say. We lost that war primarily due to political will, but we did lose it. Let's be very clear. And then after that, they bitch slapped the Chinese, which is hilarious to me. So either way, the point here is that there are three major options for the superpowers right now. I would love to see India and the EU become more serious options, but they are not there yet, and they've got some work to do. The EU in particular needs to but the EU needs to allow Ukraine and all the other former Yugoslavian nations to join. First off, the Danube is such an underrated trade route because it's largely navigable all the way into like Austria and Germany. So every nation along the Danube, from Romania and Moldova all the way up to Central Europe, could use that as a massive trade port. And it basically turns landlocked nations like Serbia into port nations. But that requires cooperation from all the countries on the Danube. To do this in the EU is very easy. To do this with some countries in the EU and some countries who are not is very difficult. And so I think it would be very wise, if I was from Serbia, I would be very pro-EU, for instance. And if I was in the EU, I would be doing what was necessary to get Serbia in. Yes, the 1990s were horrendous for pretty much every country in former Yugoslavia, but the 1990s are over. The EU needs that. The EU also needs Ukraine. A strong Ukraine is good for EU at this point. Till India grapples with human rights issues in their own borders, I don't trust them as a world leader. That is true, but again, let's compare them to the other options. Human rights issues in Russia and human rights issues in China are a lot worse than human rights issues in India. Yes, Russia, okay. I like John McCain's old quote, rest in peace. But John McCain's old quote was, Russia is a nuclear-armed gas station. That's what their economy is. It's basically entirely based on resource extraction, which is the world shifts away and should shift away from fossil fuels. Russia's going to be hurting badly. I will give credit to Saudi Arabia as an example here. The Saudis, smart. They can see the writing on the wall, and the Saudis are desperately trying to diversify their economy. Tourism, obviously, right with the holy cities of Islam there. Really good idea to build that industry up. Solar power, you live in a giant desert with some of the best solar potential in the world. Solar power in Saudi Arabia is a no-brainer. Working on desalination plants, so that way you have a stable water supply. Again, you can talk about human rights all you want, and that is true. Saudi Arabia has an appalling human rights record, but I will give credit to the Saudi regime in the same way that I will give credit to the Chinese. They are trying to prepare for the future economically, and that's very wise. Any thoughts on the line? I think it's stupid, but I'm happy someone's trying it because I want to see what happens. I love the creativity. Why not give it a shot, right? Who knows? Maybe it works. I would be surprised if it did, but it couldn't hurt to try, right? I mean, compare that to the other dystopian cities in the Gulf or in the Middle East, right? You've got fucking Dubai, which has the world's, it's got the Burj Khalifa, the tallest tower in the world, but it requires poop trucks, a giant convoy of poop trucks because it's not connected to the sewage system every day. So it's like, you have to lower your expectations a bit for the region. My ancestors are Chinese. I don't trust China as far as I can pick up the country up and throw it. I agree. Again, in terms of world superpowers, the world abhors a power vacuum. In terms of world superpowers, we are not the best, we are not perfect, but we are the best option at the moment. I would love for it to stay that way because, fuck yeah, America's awesome, but you should call them poop truck drivers poop smiths. That's funny. But yeah, no, I would love to see other options come forward as, vanguards of human rights, but also better options for superpowers, because competition makes us all stronger. If there is a strong Europe that can credibly lead the world as a superpower, it forces us in the United States to up our game. That's a good thing, right? It's the same reason the United States space program was so good in the 50s and 60s. The Soviets were a credible threat, and we had to beat them, and we did. The Soviets put up Sputnik. Absolutely an incredible achievement for all of humanity. We saw that, we're like, bet, let's make Apollo happen. And then we fucking did it, 1969. We were on the moon. And, we're still waiting for the next country to get a man up there. Just saying. Love the United States. Right, if I'm going to work a job in the Navy, how do you think I feel about my country? Yes, competition drives innovation. The benign hegemony, we're still the best option. Exactly, Cazadar, I agree with that. We're not perfect, but tell me what option is better right now. And most people who say the Chinese or the Russians are a better option are tankies. Hey, Artemil, good to see you. Welcome on in. So a little recap, moving out to Hawaii. Let's talk dates. My last day at work here is going to be March 27th. March 28th, I think I'm going to pack up and I'm out. I'm going to leave pretty early the morning of the 28th. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here after I'm done working. I want to get on the road. Then I get 7 weeks between stopping this job here and starting my new job in Hawaii. That's the longest I have been not working since I graduated college. I'm really excited for that. Most people that say that have never been anywhere. Grogster, if you want to elaborate, by all means. Regarding China, bear no ill will towards my cousins, but it's the government. Exactly. It's authoritarian communism that's the problem. And frankly, part of the reason China's economy is sputtering is because they're turning their back on the capitalist reforms made under Deng Xiaoping and Hu Jintao, two very good leaders, if you ask me. And even Jiang Zemin, I probably butchered that. Apologies to any Chinese in chat. But obviously human rights problems there, awful. But the economic reforms made from 1976 until about 2015 are the reason the Chinese economy has gotten so strong. Oh, sorry, about the people who complain about America. Yeah, a lot of people who complain about America are very spoiled and don't understand how bad the other options really are. Again, we're not perfect, but you could do a lot worse than us. At least you can, the difference between us as the world global hegemon and any other country or any of the other credible options right now is that you actually can shit talk us without getting your head chopped off or getting poisoned or getting disappeared, like what happened to Jack Ma of Alibaba, right? It's that simple. You can criticize us. You can't criticize the other ones. Which would you rather have? Stars and Stripes, baby, USA. Okay, so today is Financial Fitness Fridays. I want to talk about this. So y'all see the bottom left of my corner. Actually, I'm going to have to get some water. I am really parched. So we're going to hit the BRB. Give me 30 seconds, y'all. We're going to talk about financial fitness next. So if you guys have any financial Q&As or questions about anything, diet, exercise, my move, the dates, anything like that, ask away. I'll be right back in 60 seconds or so. All right? Just got to get some water. Sorry about that, y'all. I couldn't keep talking without water. I needed more water. So, looks like we don't have any questions, so that's fine. I'll go ahead and recap. Let's talk about the finances of this move. Some people are going to say, wait a minute, you've been on this whole financial independence train about retiring early and this, that, and the other, since you started this channel and even before that. And to that, I would say, that's correct, I am. But what people miss a lot of the time is that financial independence, or the FIRE movement, financial independence / retire early, doesn't mean you have to retire early. It just means you can retire early. There's a very big difference there. In other words, if you find work that you find fulfilling, right, the pay becomes irrelevant after a certain point. Now I'm going to get paid just fine out there, right? My profession more or less guarantees that I'm going to have a pretty solid wage. There just aren't that many nuclear engineers around, so they kind of have to pay me well. But what it's going to do is just because I can retire doesn't mean I should. Really, this clock has become something of a formality, actually. The recent stock market boom, in a raw numbers percentage, I'm actually about 97% of the way towards my financial independence number. Now, a couple other things. Let's talk about cost of living, right? Obviously, the cost of living in Oahu is going to be higher than the cost of living in rural South Carolina. That it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. And I'm acutely aware of that. What that means is the amount of money I would need to retire in Oahu is probably a lot higher than the amount of money I need to retire in South Carolina, or to do the early retirement option I had currently planned. However, even if I get out there and I say I don't like the job, or I don't like living on the island, or whatever, I can always just quit and return to the mainland and do the retire early plan that I've always had in my back pocket. That's always an option. But if I find I do love it, okay, well, I love my job, I love the area, and, okay, work a few more years, and all of a sudden, well, because right at this point, I've got a wave pushing me along of compound interest. The amount of money I've already saved up, I could save pretty much nothing, and even if we just get historically average returns for the next few years, I'll be a millionaire. It's pretty great, and into my 40s and 50s, probably a multimillionaire. And the idea that I'm going to save absolutely nothing living out in Hawaii too is probably not true. Knowing me, there's a very strong incentive in the form of reduced tax burden to put money into your 401k, your IRA, your HSA, all that good jazz. So, that alone is going to be on the order of 20, 30, 40,000, and I may save more still, or I may not. It doesn't really matter because at this point, the basic, lean fire has been achieved. The other reason too is the stock market run-up of recent weeks to months has been very good, but there could very well easily come a correction. Say, inflation ticks back up, the Fed has to hike rates, that causes a recession, that causes the stock market to plummet. If that happens, I don't want to be, it's not ideal to retire at a peak in the stock market. You don't know when peaks are until they've already happened, right? So 1929, 2007, 2019, in some cases, right? And it could be this year, it could not be this year, we don't know. 1999, for instance, or a period of higher inflation. If you actually look and you do the math on the most difficult years in terms of historical returns to retire, 1929 isn't the worst, actually. You would think it was, because, okay, that's the peak before the Great Depression. Nope. The actual worst years to retire in the United States historically have been 1965 and 1966. And the reason for that is because that is right before inflation started ticking up. Inflation in the 1970s in particular was very high. And we also had something called stagflation. Stagflation means not only was inflation high, but the stock market was not doing well. We had multiple recessions that decade. First was the oil embargo of 1973, which caused the recession of 1974. A similar recession occurred in 1979 due to another oil shock caused by the Iran hostage crisis. And then in the early 1980s, due to the Federal Reserve trying to get inflation under control with the Paul Volcker, which was necessary, it had to be done, we had another recession in 1981 and 1982. So that's 3 recessions in the course of 8 years, and high inflation during those years. That does that packs a punch to anyone's portfolio. So if you retired in the late 1960s using non-conservative sunny estimates, you were in for a world of pain, or you just had to go back to work, which was tough because unemployment rates were a lot higher in the 1970s as well. So, to avoid that scenario, you want to pick especially if you're younger like I am, a much more conservative withdrawal rate, which to me, I'm leaning closer to 3% as opposed to 4%. Feels so good not to think about a paycheck, what my rate is. All I know is my income is way more than what I pay out. My retirement's on track for retirement at 58.5. You're doing way better than most people. Now I'm 28, and if I wanted to, again, I could probably retire today and have no problem with it. But the other thing is too, I'm looking for an adventure, right? This is the other reason I'm looking to move. I've loved it here in South Carolina. You know, costs are low, people are friendly, but I'm 28 and single, and look at my body, right? I have clearly put in some fucking effort to look like this. There is no dating scene here, period. I have had to go to Columbia and Savannah for dates, and they weren't good ones either. I have the sense that part of the reason for that is that obesity rates are close to 50% here. They're less than half of that on the island of Oahu. Because again, who lives in Oahu? People who have the means to live in a very high cost of living area, who tend to therefore eat healthier. Oahu has a high Asian population in terms of racial makeup. Asians typically have much lower obesity rates because Asian diets are a lot higher in vegetable content, a lot higher in fish content, and rely on fairly low calorie density foods. So there's some truth to that. Other ones, right, you've got a very big military presence in Oahu. Well, the military has PT, and most PT standards are fairly rigorous to keep you in good shape. Some aren't. As much as I love the Air Force, I'm going to be honest here. USAF PT is easy, really fucking easy. The only people who think it's hard are airmen doing it, and even most airmen will admit it's not that bad. But you know, Army, Navy, especially Marines, right? These are not people who are out of shape in general. So that's going to be another very low obesity rate chunk of the population in Oahu. The other one too is, right, Oahu is a big, it's famous for its beaches, right? And well, if you're going to have the beach bod, are you going to be 400 pounds? No, you're probably not. You're probably going to be like, huh, a lot of really other healthy people here. I'm going to probably try and eat healthier too. The other part of this is simple economics. Very fattening, highly processed foods have to be shipped in from the mainland US, which makes them more expensive. Things like beef and dairy have to be shipped in, which makes them more expensive, which means people eat less of them. Things that are cheaper tend to be vegetables and fish, which are lower calorie, which means people eat healthier. In other words, there are some things that I think we here in the mainland could learn from Hawaii, and I can't wait, frankly. I'm also a massive sucker for poke, so I'm really excited to find the best poke at Oahu. I'm really hoping I can meet some either natives or people who have lived on the island for a long time. There is a difference, okay? You can be a resident of Hawaii, but that doesn't necessarily make you a Hawaiian. Hawaiian is an ethnicity. I had someone who actually was Hawaiian tell me this. Like, Hawaiian is an ethnicity. A Hawaii resident is not an ethnicity. There is a difference there. But either way, the point is, right, I want to get some poke, because that poke and spam musubi, I'm probably butchering that, apologies to any Hawaiians in chat, but those are two like really iconic foods of the island. And spam musubi is not quite as healthy, but poke is very good for you. It's hard to be fat in an infantry unit. Korean, have you let Puget? No, yes. So to the other people who, you know, have been around the stream for a while, Washington State was the other option, Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, which they made me an excellent offer. They did everything right. And sometimes in life, you can do everything right and still not get what you want. Unfortunately, yes, I had to let Puget know, right? I had to let someone down. There were two, like that is by far and away the hardest career choice I've had to make. Every other career choice I've had to make up until this point was extremely easy. I'm going to be a haole. I'll be a haole forever. What I want to, I'm okay with being called a fucking haole, right? I'm too white to get away with anything else. That's fine. They can call me a haole all day long, and that's understandable. What I don't want to get called is a tourist. That would make me upset. Because I will be working there. I am a haole. You know, when I get over there, I will be a haole. But I won't be a tourist. And I'm going to try and not do the super cringe thing and pretend like, you know, I'm not going to try and say, like, I still need to talk to some people who live over there to figure out, like, if it's respectful to try and, like, pronounce it in the native pronunciation, or if that's, like, just a super cringe thing woke white people try to do. Because, like I don't know this, right? But, like, you don't, I don't think most people pronounce it Hawaii, even though that's like actually how it's pronounced in Hawaiian. I don't think most people do that. I could be wrong. I could get over there and be totally wrong on that. But I think that's a thing like super cringe white people try to do to try and you get what I'm saying? Like I want to be respectful without being like super cringe about it. So I'm gonna have to kind of feel that one out. Hopefully, I meet a lot of friends over there that can kind of help me adjust. Now, I think I've got a little bit of experience on this because growing up, living in a military family, we were stationed at Okinawa. Okinawa is kind of like it's a very rough equivalency. Okinawa is sort of like to Japan what Hawaii is to the United States. It's an island far away from the mainland that has its own very unique culture, and the people see themselves primarily as, you know, culturally Okinawan or culturally Hawaiian before they see themselves as American or Japanese, and there are some good historical reasons for that. Now, I will say to any Hawaiians out there, we treated you a whole lot better than the Japanese treated the Okinawans. I can promise you that. The Okinawans got treated brutally by the Japanese. Really, basically anyone who wasn't Japanese got treated brutally by the Japanese. Go ask any Filipino, and they'll tell you. See, to me, Haole just means white, right? Because the original term is, I think it's either, I think it's lay is breath and Haole is without breath. I could have that backwards, but and it's because I think I learned about this. I've tried to do a little bit of research because, right, you want to be respectful of the culture when you go somewhere. But it's because when Hawaiians prayed in the Hawaiian religion that existed pre-discovery, right, like before the 1800s, Hawaiians would take deep breaths after praying, and we Westerners don't tend to do that. It's actually a pretty neat idea. It forces you to really focus on the prayer. I've tried it before, just doing even the Lord's Prayer. It makes it feel more intentional. So it's not a bad idea. But because they didn't do that, that's where the term Haole comes from. You probably knew that, but for those of you who aren't familiar with Hawaii, maybe you didn't. So now I'm used to it. If I get called a fucking Haole, okay. It's gonna roll off my back. Like, to me, it's the same thing as being called a fucking honky or a fucking cracker. Like, nah, just don't do it. Look, I'm sorry, other races, we white people, we're way better at coming up with offensive names than y'all are. Honky is just funny to me. Like, you call me a honky, I'm gonna start laughing. I'm not gonna be offended. I can't get to that point. Honky is just a funny fucking, like, because I know it's from the term honky tonk, but like when I think about it, I'm thinking honk honk like a clown, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. It's just fucking funny. Without soul spirit, it's meant to be offensive, but right, words are only offensive if you get offended by them. You can't let people live rent free in your head. So if you just shrug it off and go, wait a minute, I'm white, and walk away, that's way more effective, I promise you. And yes, that's a Boondocks reference, and yes, Boondocks is hilarious, fight me. Hawaiians traditionally respect the warrior culture. Yes, and that's why a large chunk of that in economic necessity is why a lot of Hawaiians end up joining the US military. Because that's what you become in the military in a large sense. You become a warrior. And while a lot of Hawaiians don't like to admit this, take a look at basically every development index or income index or really anything with Hawaii versus any other Pacific Island nation, and Hawaii is consistently number one. In the same way that Puerto Rico is doing a lot better than almost every other island in the Caribbean because the United States is there. It's not a fun reality, but it is one. And to any Hawaiians that say, yeah, did we do you guys dirty in the late 19th century, early 20th century? Unquestionably. Hell, we've even apologized for it. Bill Clinton did that in, I think, 1993, which was the right thing to do. However, if we didn't do it, the Japanese were going to do it, and it would have been a lot worse. Ask any Filipino about that one. They'll tell you. Words can be offensive because of the amount of power one group has over another. Cazadar, you're right about that, but I'm white, so kind of not something I've really ever had to worry about. So, right, you know, sue me. I don't get that offended easily. Holds much more power than in a reverse situation. That's probably true. Now I'm gonna tell you about that, Cazadar. Right. So I live in rural South Carolina. This is not just the state, another state in the deep South. This is the state that started the Civil War. There is still, a lot of people who fly the Confederate flag very high around here. Is racism something we're still working on here? Oh yeah. We've only been KKK free in this town since the 1980s. But things have gotten better. It's not perfect, but it's better. We're all humans, we're all imperfect, and we're all trying to make the world better. And if you operate from that mindset, you get in so much better relationships with people. Be optimistic to start. Give trust out at first, and if someone violates it, then be distrustful. Don't be distrustful of everybody. If you do that, you spend half your life just trying to verify that people aren't going to stab you in the back, and that slides you into paranoia way too quickly. It's not a good way to operate. Saw a black comedian. POC is a dumbass fucking term. POC. Okay, so right, having lived in the deep South, we used to call people colored down here in the days of Jim Crow. It was the term. You were either white or you were colored. Now it's people of color is somehow less offensive than colored, which is fucking stupid. That term's dumb, if you ask me. Hell, the NAACP, which is a black advocacy group, is literally called the National American Association for Colored People, right? Like it's to me it's just this stupid PC word game. Just call them black people. It's okay. It's the same thing. African American's fucking dumb either. Hyphenated American's stupid. You're an American. That is your nationality. Black is a race, right? Just go like that. Say it sucks because asking a white person what their ethnicity was wouldn't lead to offense. Whether a long conversation about how their family's part German, part Irish, etc., etc. Well, okay. So now this is the other thing, right? Discrimination was still a thing against a lot of white people coming to this country. Ask any old Italian family how they were treated coming over here. I was reading actually, here's a really great example. I was reading the autobiography of Lee Iacocca, the brainchild behind the Mustang, the guy who saved Chrysler in the early 1980s. Lee Iacocca, his real name was Lido. And Iacocca is originally pronounced Iacocca. It's an Italian name. His parents were immigrants from Italy to the United States. And he grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. And he got discriminated against. Part of the reason he left Ford in the 1970s is because Hank the Deuce, Henry Ford II, was just as racist as his old man was. I should say grandfather, but still, you get the point. I don't remember their ethnicity, that's why I said POC. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, if you were Irish, you were discriminated against in this country in the 1840s. Now, is it the same discrimination that black people had? No, one was enslaved and one wasn't enslaved. But it was still discrimination, right? It's the same, it's why there's this term, and I don't spend a lot of time on identity politics for this reason. I think identity politics is a waste of time. But there's this term called intersectionality. It's basically cultural Marxism. It's basically saying everyone's struggle is the same unless you're cis, hetero, white male. And it's just, no, it's not. What women had to deal with is different from what black people had to deal with. It's different from what natives or American Indians had to deal with. It's different from what Mexicans have had to deal with. Discrimination has existed. Institutional racism is real. But let's treat things individually, because lumping people into this one oppressed camp and this one oppressor's camp creates a false us versus them narrative, which is extremely toxic. Every ethnicity who came to the U.S. had to fight for equal standing with American-born. I mean, hell, go ask any Asian American who lives in California about the Chinese Exclusion Act as a great example. We discriminated and basically blocked any Asians from immigrating to the continental United States for decades. Why did we do this? Racism, stupidity, xenophobia. But yeah, Cis white males have a lot of pride. Exactly, too. And if you were, right, even if you were, let's go ahead and say you were Scottish American, right? You were immigrants from what is now the United Kingdom. A lot of lower middle class immigrants from England and Scotland still got discriminated against. You ever heard the term white trash or hillbilly? Those settlers on the frontier in states like North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, the bluegrass states, the states where moonshine whiskey is from, where did they get that? Where did they get that culture from? They got it from Scotland, right? They got it mostly from the poor parts of the UK, where due to the enclosure laws in Britain, poor, and lower middle class and middle class yeomen and peasantry were enclosed. They lost their land. And so they left. They moved to the United States to start their own frontiers. And a lot of those poor, middle class or working class families in that part of Appalachia, it's still one of the poorest regions in the country. And there's a lot of resentment because they're seen as the villain by a lot of these progressives, even though they've had a hard life too. Coal mining ain't an easy job. Just be kind, exactly. Listen to one of my favorite people, Mr. Rogers' advice. The 3 most important things in the world: be kind, and be kind. Try not to be so easily offended. If something is offensive, say it politely, but then forgive someone. That's what Jesus teaches us to do as well. Listen to Jesus and Mr. Rogers. You're not going to do too bad. Be kind, also rewind. Someone grew up in the 90s. I do remember VCRs. So now, I was only born in the 90s. I did not grow up in the 90s. I'm not a 90s kid. But because I was in a military family, we got things 5 to 10 years after everyone else did. So, Game Boy Colors were from 1996, 1997, 1998. I got that in 2002, 2003. The 70s, I grew up in small town Wisconsin. Statuses of families that farmed, worked in the factories. Dad was a truck driver. We were the low, poor whites on the spectrum when they're told to experience it. Exactly. Unfortunately, society is hierarchical by nature. Doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter what society. Even in supposedly equal communist societies, guess what? You still had the nomenklatura in Russia. You still had the bureaucratic class in communist China. Pure equality is just never going to happen. The best we can do is have empathy, but understand individual struggles individually and try not to lump people into us versus them narratives, because us versus them narratives is toxic and it leads to violence. You don't want that. Anyway, speaking of communism, or better still, the superior system that is capitalism, hell yeah. Yes, I have a bias there. Again, I'm a proud American. What did you think I was going to be like? Let's take a look at the good old stock market. Let's see, we've got Jesus H. Coinbase, that call, I'm getting my nuts clapped on that call. Coinbase is up to, holy crap, it peaked at 270 this morning. I had a fair amount of Coinbase stock, and that has done extremely well for me. But yeah, no, I sold a call at 170 when the stock was at 140, and it's damn near doubled. So, I lost my ass on that call, but I'm still selling it for a pretty solid profit, a couple $1,000 there. And then the remaining stock is now worth money. So it's feeling pretty good. I will probably get out of Coinbase at 250. I think it's, there's a little bit too much exuberance in the crypto market right now. I like having a little bit of Coinbase for the same reason that I don't like gold. I don't trust myself to know which cryptocurrency is the correct one to invest in. I don't know the space that well, but I do know that, much in the same way that one, don't buy the gold, buy the shovel company. It's the same mindset applied to crypto. Don't buy the crypto itself, buy the company that makes money buying and selling crypto, or that makes money on commissions. Crypto is extremely volatile, right? Crypto is volatile, and everybody's like, oh, crypto is backed by, no, it's not. Crypto is backed more by sentiment than anybody else. A currency, quote unquote, that can increase in value by a factor of 3 and then decrease in value by that same time as a factor of 3 is not it's not stable. It's not a useful measure. It's not a useful medium of goods in exchange. Unlike the U.S. dollar, yeah, the U.S. dollar's fiat, whatever, yada yada yada. The US dollar is backed by the strongest military in the world. There you go. You want the cold hard truth? The US dollar is backed by thousands of nuclear weapons and dozens of F-22s. Bitcoin doesn't have that. Is Bitcoin, a bad investment necessarily? I'm very ambiguous on individual cryptos. There's justification for them, but at the same time, there's, it's not a, it's not, if I knew the space better, I'd feel better qualified. But I do believe that cryptocurrency will become more popular, particularly in countries who have mismanaged their finances to the degree where hyperinflation is occurring. Countries like this are Turkey, Russia, to a lesser extent North Korea, countries where you have to operate outside of the law in a lot of cases. There are a lot of black markets caused by artificially authoritarian laws. China to a lesser extent. Used to be Argentina. I actually think Javier Milei is doing the right thing there and trying to stabilize the currency and is getting way too much pushback from Peronists who are fucking corrupt. I like Javier Milei in general. I don't agree with everything he says, but I think at this point, Argentina has had such abysmal leadership for the last century, they ought to give Milei a shot. Let him implement his agenda, and if it backfires, okay, vote him out of office. But these Peronists who are basically trying to kneecap the changes Milei wants to vote, to have in Argentina, are ignoring the popular will of the voters there, which is dumb. Bitcoin is solely valuable Bitcoin is valuable because people think it is valuable, in the same way that fiat currency is valuable because people think it is valuable, right? I don't think Bitcoin is all smoke and mirrors. I think there's value to some cryptocurrencies. Gold is up 12% in the past 6 months. I think gold is very similar to crypto. I would not invest in either directly. Invest in gold mining companies is a better option than investing in gold itself. Because there's a really great quote from Warren Buffett on gold. How shocking it is that we pay, so gold is mined by some of the poorest people in the world. It is refined in furnaces, where we dig gold up out of the ground, we refine it in furnaces, and then we pay loads and loads of money to store it underground in security, That's what we're doing. That's what gold is. And you can fondle gold and touch it all you want and love it and do whatever you want to it, but that chunk of metal in 10 years will still be a chunk of metal. Whereas if you invest your money in a business, that business may become bigger as long as you invest in the right one. I'm a huge fan of the S&P 500 because I believe in the American economy, I believe in American productivity, and I believe the American system is better than almost any other option. It offers the ability to secure a transaction that you don't want traced, which is why I like Warren Buffett's quote on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now replacing suitcases full of cash in the underground economy. But the underground economy is not, it's not something you necessarily need to denigrate. The underground economy and black markets represent a failure in government policy. For instance, in New York, you have people who sell loosies on the street, loose tobacco cigarettes. The reason is because tobacco taxes, which I am in favor of, have gotten so ridiculous in New York City that it is cheaper for people to drive to places like Delaware or even into the Carolinas down here for cheap cigarettes, buy the carton load, transport them up to New York City, and then sell them individually on the street and not pay tax on it. This is a policy failure. New York City has tobacco taxes that are too high. If they reduce tobacco taxes, that illegal market wouldn't exist anymore. And police wouldn't have to bother about that illegal market, which means some of the protests that occurred, I think it was Eric Garner, I want to say, the one that got choked out by the cops for selling loose cigarettes on the street, that wouldn't have happened. That's my point, That is a failure in government policy there. Imagine, how much more important crimes the cops could be stopping if they didn't have to worry about street corner cigarette dealers. It's that, and remember, the cops don't make the laws. The cops are required to enforce the laws. So you can't blame the cops for bad laws. You have to blame the legislators for bad laws. That's one thing that really bothers me. yeah, you make bad laws and you tell the cops to enforce the bad laws and you get mad at the cops for doing their job. Like, what are you expecting? It's the same reason that I'm not a fan of prohibition. You tried it in the 18th Amendment, which is the single dumbest federal amendment we have ever created. The 18th Amendment was monumentally stupid. We destroyed the fifth largest industry in the United States overnight and forced it to become a black market, and then we were shocked when organized crime took it over in the 1920s. What did you think was going to happen? People were just going to stop drinking like that? That's not how human brains work. Like that's not how the laws of supply and demand work. You can't just eliminate demand for something overnight because you feel it is a moral imperative to do so. That's legislating morality, and that's not a good idea. It's the same reason I'm in favor of legalizing cannabis, legalizing prostitution, legalizing the sale of automatic weapons. If you don't do that, you're just going to make it a very lucrative market for criminals. And I know a lot of people feel very differently about some of those things, and that's okay. That's your right to feel it. But just remember, when you ban something, it doesn't make it go away. It doesn't matter what it is. Same thing with abortion. I'm a fan. I don't really give a shit about abortion because I'm a single guy. But if asked, I say safe, legal, and rare is probably the way to do it. I think Bill Clinton had it right in the 90s. I think it's kind of disgusting. It's icky, especially if you're doing it late term because you weren't careful. But I think most abortions aren't that category. And again, banning abortions is just going to drive that market underground, which means you get non-medical procedures which can kill the life of the mother and the baby, that's not what anybody wants. So it's this mindset, it's really what it is. It's legislating morality in all of those cases, and it's just not a good way to run the country. So you can't protect people from themselves. I agree, in general. Now, there are some instances where you really, there's gotta be a better solution. Heroin, for instance, right? I'm not a fan of legalizing, really hard street drugs like that. We've got to take a little bit of a different approach there. But criminalizing it hasn't worked, so we've got to come up with some better alternatives. We got to go that way. But I don't think, right, see, this is my issue, and again, I live in the Bible Belt, so I've met a lot of these people. A lot of the people who are quote-unquote pro-life down here are also anti-birth control, which really bothers me. If you are anti-condoms and anti the pill and all of that, you try to restrict access to birth control, and then you're shocked when more people get abortions, what you've done there is played a stupid game and won a stupid prize. What you're trying to do is legislate morality, and that's not a good idea. But yeah, my biggest, when it comes to social issues in this regard, my biggest mantra here is banning shit doesn't make it go away. People who try to ban shit often see it backfire badly. No, that's the thing, but the problem is a lot of these social conservatives overplay their hand. And it's the same thing that a lot of progressives do, right? We've won monumental improvements in the way gay people, lesbian people, bisexual people, trans people are treated. But if you go and push too hard, you get backlash. It's the same thing that the anti-abortion crowd does, and then they're shocked when people vote for Democratic candidates based on saner abortion policies. Until they're willing to put in the money to take care of a child till adulthood, they need to shut up. I'm a huge fan of adoption, by the way. If you adopt, and obviously, right, you can abuse the system. Don't fucking do that. But if you're adopting for all the right reasons, you know what those reasons are. To me, that's a one-way ticket to sainthood. You are giving a child who might not have had a very good life a chance at a better life, and that is something I have just immense amounts of respect for. Anyway, let's take a look at the rest of the market. It looks like the S&P is about flat. Actually, really, it looks like a very flat day in general. The only thing that's high is Coinbase. It's up 4%. So, yeah, I'm getting my nuts absolutely collapsed for for that call, but I still have stock that isn't going to get lost in that call, so I'm making money still on it. Do we have any other questions? I think we're going to look to raid someone pretty soon. Obviously, the big move to Hawaii is coming up. It's a big deal. So we can talk about that. We can talk about the stream. Tomorrow I'm going to be live. It's going to be a push day. Won't quite be as long, but it's going to be a lot of shoulder work, a lot of hypertrophy on chest. It won't be quite as heavy on chest. We'll probably be doing dumbbell bench. Let's see what else we're going to be doing. A lot of close grip, probably. I tried doing some dips. Yeah, it's gonna. Problem is, it's very hard to do dips on anything. You know what I could do is if I put the trap bar up, maybe there's a way for me to do dips with the trap bar. I have to play around with that. That could be interesting. But yeah, that's going to be what we're doing tomorrow. Let's see who else we got live right now. We got Limitless. We got Hot Sauce. We got. Limitless is doing leg day. We'll probably do that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all 30 more seconds. Otherwise, we're going to probably raid here. So we're going to probably raid Limitless Fitness because she's awesome. And she's doing all sorts of leg exercises. It looks like we don't have any other comments. So it's been good, y'all. Appreciate it. We'll keep y'all in the loop. If you have questions about, wanting to hang out with me or anything like that, come join the Discord. You know where it's at. Just click X. Here, I'll put it in chat, actually. If you want the Discord, there's the link. Click the roll channel, read the rules, all that jazz. And I hope to see you in there. I think we are going to go ahead and raid Limitless Fitness. Raid messages, as always, Bull Rush. Y'all know that. That's going to be it for me today, y'all. Take care. I will be live tomorrow morning, and y'all, as always, make good decisions, because those good decisions form your actions. Those actions form your habits. Those habits form your values. Those values can form an ethos and be the guide star through the rough waters of life. Much love, y'all. Come in through the hug. Oh, God, my leg is killing me. Cheers. Oh, fuck. Oh, my leg. YouTube, good to see you. My legs are literally locking up, so I'm going to go and try and get some food in me. Peace. Ow.